All right, Montrose here. You guys asked for a follow-up to the last video that was showing how this whole system worked. There are a few things I want to point out. We're going to get to it. The first is, I don't know if it was evident the last time, but there's a little filter here. So when the water comes down out of this pipe and pours in here, all the junk gets captured by this lid. The whole thing lifts out so I can just dump it out. Also, because I don't have an actual, I don't have a pipe attached to the top of this as an overflow. What I've done is I've covered it with just kind of like a tool that will keep out any bugs, but let water overflow out of it. Now, the thing that I've started to use since the last time was because the water at the bottom of the tank is the oldest, and that's where all the anaerobic activity is. I have that draining first, and the way that I've done that is I have a hose attached to that valve, and I have a hose attached going over the sawhorse that, if you look here, is just under the level of that overflow valve. And so what happens, and then I just have that running out to the yard. What happens is that as the water starts flowing, as it starts rising, the first water that dumps out of here, that empties out of here and overflows, is going to come out of the bottom. And it's going to, that way we're taking out the oldest water of the tank, that stuff where there's no activity, and that's the first stuff that's being kind of dumped out into the yard with this hose. So those are those two things, the screen and that overflow. On the other tank, the bigger tank, I just have same exact thing, but I just have a big piece of wood, so it's having to go a little bit higher than the sawhorse would do on the other side, but same concept. All right, so let's open up this this deal here so you can see how the mechanism inside here works, this first flush filter. Okay, so with this first flush filter, what happens is the water comes down into this little tube area. Now I've taken this off so you can see kind of what's going on here. Using this, there was a little ball that's in there, and using this lid I cut a hole in it and I attached this piece to it. And inside that piece is a little ball that goes up, it floats up, and essentially stops at a, we'll just kind of tilt it forward so you can see as the water rises, the ball comes out towards this, plugs up the hole, and then the water is able to bypass it. I hope that makes sense looking at that. So let's just kind of review once again what it is. The water comes down here, down this pipe, down into here, fills up the barrel, and as the barrel rises, that ball that we saw a second ago floats up to the top. It gets jammed right here, but essentially is making it so that as the water go in, it's getting stopped by that ball, and then having to go out, you know, that way along that tube and into the tank. The other thing that's important is that this thing that I showed you last time, rather than having it just leak out on the ground, I attached a little tube, and what that does is it slowly bleeds out. Take this thing off here. It slowly bleeds out a little bit of water, and what this has on it is kind of like a filter that hopefully catches the debris, because you got a tiny little hole at the end of this. The kit that I got, and I'll have to look at the link again, rainharvesting.com or something like that. It comes with a bunch of different little gaskets that go in here, essentially with a different size hole to be able to allow you to customize the amount of water that's coming out. So if you want to bleed out really fast, then you do one with the bigger hole. I think that's what I did, and I've had no problem with it. And this filter, take it out every once in a while. You may have noticed I had a toothbrush up there. I run water along this, wash it off, and that seems to work pretty well. So that's kind of the deal here. This has worked really well. Haven't had too many issues with any part of it, actually. It's been pretty smooth. We've collected a bunch of water. Let's see how much water we got left here. Now this looks like it has lost a bunch of water. Something that I've been noticing is when the water starts going out, and with this overflow, there are times where the motion of the water seems to create kind of a siphon effect, and I'm not sure why that is, if the water is having to climb this. So if you've got it open and the water hasn't started flowing yet, then you'll be pretty safe. And if you're getting a lot of active rainfall, then you're safe because the tank is being refilled. But you may notice that tank was pretty empty going part of the way down. And so you may only want to open that. We're expecting a lot more rain, so I'm not worried about this thing filling up again. I found that only a couple inches of rain fills this tank up, fills the other tank up all the way, and the other one's 1,500 gallons. So you may want to only use that when the water's actually coming down to kind of take some of the pressure off of your tank. So yeah, hope this helps. And post your comments, questions below. Happy to answer them.